What's going on, guys? So I am in an interesting place, and I say interesting not because the place is particularly interesting, but because the weather is surprising. So I flew up from South Texas, where it was, I'm gonna say, about 85 degrees, almost like no humidity. It was perfect, maybe 30-40% humidity because of a cold front that came in. Sunny and absolutely drop dead gorgeous outside. I mean, it was the best day you could imagine. And I am now here in Elkhart, Indiana. And of course, I think most people by now realize that this whole area of Indiana is kind of the mega center for the RV industry. So a lot of folks probably aren't surprised that I come here occasionally. But today's trip is going to be kind of an interesting trip because I'm going to go spend some time at a manufacturer who I haven't visited before. I filmed a lot of their RVs, but I haven't actually come out here to specifically tour their facility and see what they have going on. So they have a lot going on, and it's going to be really cool to spend some time with them today. So here we are, very, very cold, wet day in Elkhart, Indiana at the Alliance factory. Very, very cool. Let's get started. All right, so we got my good friend Joe here. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, lots of stuff. How are you, JD?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely great, other than the fact that it's very cold and wet outside.
That's true, but hey, April showers bring May flowers.
They do, but the whole point is that I'm up here at the Alliance. I'm going to call it the global headquarters. That always sounds cool. The Alliance global headquarters in Elkhart, Indiana, to talk about a lot of really cool things that the folks at Alliance are doing. So let's kick this off. I know there's a few people that you want to introduce me to.
I want to introduce you to the co-founders, Ryan and Coley Brady.
Now, this is really important because from the inception here, the Alliance brand has been all about including the experience of owners and getting them involved with it. So super cool to meet you guys. How's it going?
Welcome. Yeah,
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you. Welcome to Alliance RV.
I appreciate it. So this is going to be a very fun tour for me because, you know, while I was driving up here, I was kind of commenting in the car about the brands that have been around for a long time and how sometimes there's this lack of innovation, a lack of forward motion. But you guys have been, how long have you guys been selling your product? I don't want to say a brand because there's a lot of engineering and design that go into a product before it gets released, but the first product appearing on a dealership lot, how long ago was that?
That would have been the very tail end of 2019. So December of 2019 was our very first product shipments.
Okay.
Yep.
So we're talking roughly 3 or 4 years in.
3.5 years.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's crazy to see the amount of innovation that you've put into your product and thinking. The whole thought process behind your product is really driven off of social media, right? It's reaching out to people who want to buy your product, who have bought your product, and constantly evolving it to meet their demands.
Exactly. And I think it goes back to the very beginning when we went to Facebook, our Facebook group, and we had 2,000 product owners on there that were giving us feedback from the very beginning. And this goes back to May of 2019. So we had a good solid 7-8 months before we even shipped our first RV just to get feedback, have customers come through here, have dealerships come through here. So we really got a lot of feedback from the very beginning. And that process has carried forward here from for the last 3.5 years.
Yeah, you know, it's really become part of our DNA as we've approached, you know, subsequent brand launches. Obviously, we did launch with the Paradigm product back in 2019, and then came out with our Valor toy hauler and the Avenue mid-profile fifth wheel, and then our newest brand, the Delta travel trailer, which you're up here to film. You know, we've stayed true to that kind of crowdsourcing model and really poured over, you know, product owners, you know, seeing what they've done aftermarket, you know, listening to some of the complaints, some of the desires that they'd like to see in that category. And, you know, we're excited to show you that product and show you some of that, incorporation of the feedback and that crowdsourcing come together with that brand.
Well, and I think that's the differentiation here. It's not that any one brand can put out a perfect product, right? These are still hand assembled units. This isn't something going down a mechanically, robotically controlled assembly line.
Right.
This is a lot of people's hands putting something together, American hands building a product with pride, while at the same time building this product based off of the story and the feedback that's coming to you from your customers and future customers.
Yeah, I think it comes back to the culture we've created here, right? And our mindset from the very beginning is how can we be quality oriented and really put together the best product for our end consumer. And that's been the mission from day one, do the right thing, and so we live that every day here. And it's something you'll continue to see of us going forward.
Yep, and we live in weird times. It's strange times right now. Coming out, and I don't even want to say coming out of COVID. We're still dealing with it,
right.
But going into it, it was a challenge, right? It was a challenge for manufacturers. There were a lot of reasons why RVs weren't being produced as quickly, why the prices reflected that, why parts that you all needed components. I mean, I've worked with a lot of manufacturers, and it's crazy to think what air conditioner shortages did to the industry.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to, one of the things we did early on is we have a PDI center. I think you'll see this today. Each one of our production lines has a PDI center, pre-delivery inspection center, that goes through each of these units before they dispatch to our dealer base. And so that was really key, especially during those crazy times you mentioned, during the supply chain issues that we were all facing and the labor issues we were all facing. So that's something I hope you get a chance to do a video of today on the PDI Center.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. I think the other part too that I'm really excited to focus on is a lot of things that you see that go into an RV from some of the other brands are centralized to work with all of the brands that manufacturer makes. Whereas you guys have to do a lot of it yourselves, right? Your lamination facility, for instance, it's not one lamination facility that supports 25 different brands. It's a lamination facility that you guys built yourself, created and control so you can turn out the product you want to turn out.
Yeah, and you'll get a sense here today, JD, our campus, we're centralized here. So all of our manufacturing facilities are here on our campus. And in our prior lives, we worked for manufacturers where you'd have a plant here and then maybe 15 miles down the road, you'd have another plant. And so what that does, you kind of mentioned, it creates, differences among the brands. And with us here, to your point, our lamination plant is able to feed all of our manufacturing plants. That's maybe, 500 feet max of delivery. All of our aluminum welding we do in-house. We do some neat epoxy countertops that are done in-house. We do a lot of steel welding here in-house. So anything that we can do to kind of maintain and control quality, we try to do here in-house.
Well, and you get to control that quality. So that's the key behind it. It's not as if you have to drive off to another side of town and deal with the factory that's trying to put out production for a bunch of other brands. You get to go to that facility that you own and say, I need this done differently. And you can make changes relatively quickly because of that.
And we can, and we can pop into these plants, daily. Our quality teams can walk our production lines in the matter of, an hour as opposed to driving across town to visit these plants. And really, one of the important things that, Cole and I spend a lot of time on is culture, and creating that culture where our team members feel valued, where they feel appreciated, where they take pride in their work product. And I think part of that is because they feel in close connection with our team here. Again, they're not off on an island, building their specific brand. They're part of a company, part of Alliance RV.
Yep. So I'm going to have an off-the-cuff question. I didn't prep you guys for it, right? So you guys have been around since 2019. First units were being delivered around 2019. I think I filmed one of the first units that went out.
Yes.
So would you say that the product you buy today, the same floor plan today, has improvements over the product from just 3.5 years ago?
100% yes. And back to our core values, one of our core values is relentless improvement, and that's something we do every single day. Is how can we make the product better? How can we improve quality? It's something we refine and work on each and every single day. So absolutely 100% yes.
Okay, and that's important. It's an important thing to know that
if I buy an RV today, yet I see the video that I produced 3 years ago,
Yeah.
that some of the things that you may have seen and go, you know what, maybe they should have done that a little different, or maybe, you know, I don't like the way that was installed, or I don't like this or that.
Well, one thing I'll note too is we've shipped out over 10,000 fifth wheels now to date since our inception. And of those 10,000, over 9,000 are retail sold. So we have all sorts of experience out there with our end consumers, and we get feedback every single day coming back from our consumers. Our dealerships are telling us, hey, think about this, or our consumers like, hey, did you think about this? So all this feedback we've gotten over the last 3.5 years has really driven that relentless improvement each and every single day.
Yep. One final comment I'd like to make, because we got a lot of content we're going to be filming today, but one final comment is most RV manufacturers see the dealership as their customer. And there's positives, but there's a lot of negatives to that mentality. That means I'm here to make my dealership money and make them happy. But your connection to your consumer through Facebook, through social media, means that you can't hide behind a dealership. You are getting direct feedback from a consumer, which is your true customer. And when the consumer is your true customer, that's truly what pushes for positive change and innovation in the industry. A dealership wants, I hate to say it, the cheapest thing that they can get, that they can make the most margins on, and that they can also give to their customer with the least likely number of returns or service issues. What you want is a product that your consumers are going to love, because you are right in front of your consumers all the time, and you call your customers
The allies.
allies.
Yes.
So, and I've had a chance to meet them at just about every event I go to where there's Alliance products. There's a group setting up a table there, all wearing the shirts, wearing the logos, and they're like, oh, we're allies. We follow around all the events, which is super cool.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing to note too is we had the ability early on is to hand select our dealers across North America, and we feel really good about our dealer base. It's one of those things that we want to look at customer service. Do our dealerships have the ability to take care of our consumers? Do they have enough service bays? Are they good on the back end? But I will say this, we are also very good on making sure that if we do have to help these customers, if there's a tricky situation with solar, for example, on a Valor, or if there's something tricky on how to operate their new Paradigm fifth wheel, we have how-to videos out there. We have a team here that can answer those questions to help support our best dealers across North America. So our dealers are great, and our dealers do a fantastic job, but we're also here to back up and support those dealers and to make sure our consumers are taken care of at the end of the day.
And the key to this is, most of the time, a consumer is going to experience a failure or a problem with their RV isn't going to be when a dealership's close by. It's going to be when they're taking their RV out. And they have to justify, do we wrap up the trip early? What do we do when we get back? Do we try to schedule an appointment? So I've heard numerous occasions where customers have actually been out camping and they've contacted you guys, and you guys have gone out of your way to take care of them in the field where it's most important at that moment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, we want to enhance the ownership experience. That was one of the goals that, you know, when we set out, and how do we go about doing it? And especially, you know, in these big fifth wheels, you know, it's a buyer who's not necessarily weekend camping close to their, you know, purchasing, you know, dealership, and they're, you know, they may be going down south for the winter. And so how do we provide, you know, better ownership experience? And sometimes it's, you know, thinking outside the box. Obviously, we want our customers to go through their dealerships, but, you know, in some instances they need to troubleshoot, you know, at the campground, and so let's provide them the resources to, you know, troubleshoot a leveling system or a solar system, and so that's something that, you know, we continue to build out that catalog of videos and provide the resources, you know, to call in to us and talk to a tech here to you know, to help get them back camping, so it's not, you know, disrupting camping experience.
So I'm going to ask you one last question off the cuff. Again, we didn't rehearse this one, didn't give many heads up on this. From each one of you, what is one area that you feel you could improve legitimately?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, you know, we mentioned culture. I think, you know, proud of the team that we've assembled here, proud of our turnover statistics. I think if you stack up our statistics relative to our competitors, you'll find that our team, you know, doesn't turn over. You know, I think people are they feel valued, they feel appreciated, but, you know, we're not perfect. We still want to maintain and create a culture where, you know, it's the absolute best. So I think, keep striving to create a great working culture. It's good, but I guess we always want it to be even better.
Yeah.
I think I would agree with that. And we always, again, back to the quality front, we feel like we're really the best in class, but we want to even be better. And I think one of the things that we found out here in the last 12 months, especially as the industry slowed down a little bit, is we've continued to tick ahead and tick forward on quality. I don't think we'll ever be perfect, but we want to be perfect on the quality front. And so that's something we always drive on and are continuing to work on here going forward. So I'd say that would be one as well.
That's a good question.
That's actually really, it's a good answer.
I've never been asked that one.
Because a lot of times it's all hoorah. It's all, let's talk about how great everything is. But every business has struggles.
Yes.
During COVID, turnover was probably a big one, just finding labor.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, getting components, getting parts, and getting quality parts.
Well, and it's personal for us. We take the responsibility as a manufacturer of a high-priced RV. We take that responsibility. We don't take it lightly, and so it's painful if there is a quality issue out there. But that's where we try to show our true colors and standing behind it and doing the right thing.
And always being accessible too. So that's why we want to do these videos. We want to be in front with the customer and not only our dealer customer, but our end customer. So that's one of the things that we're always accessible. You mentioned Facebook. We're always available there as well. So that's something we'll continue to do.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, I truly appreciate it. It's going to be really cool kind of seeing the whole behind the scenes that takes place. And I know other folks have done factory tours. I know it's happened. People are on YouTube. They've shown that stuff. But I ask some weird questions sometimes.
So some great questions today. It was all off the cuff for today, so it was great.
Exactly. So I'm going to ask some tough questions along the line. Again, gentlemen, I really appreciate it. This is going to be a super cool, fun tour of your facility, and I hope to learn a lot. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, JD.
Yep. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, now is a phenomenal time to subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. I mean, this was awesome. Rarely do you get an opportunity to speak to the founders of a brand and understand the culture and what they're trying to accomplish, but also hear some of the struggles that they have. And I think that they've been able to do that here today. So guys, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. We'll talk to you again very soon.